They started one step at a time. They started invest a little bit one time, and then it starts to exponentially compound. Eventually, they start to expand their skill set. Well, it's the same way I take what I know and I put it in that framework for them to understand. It's a lot easier than most people think. It's not a 2-hour workout. I bet it's a 20-minute workout, given the day and the time of the year, the quarter. But we want you moving. Taking what I know from fitness and health is to say it's very much like an investment. It's consistency over a long time is dividends. You have to start somewhere.
Gary Mahabir is a movement specialist known for combining strength training with fascia-focused techniques.
He helps people move better, feel stronger, and unlock their body's full potential through practical, hands-on methods.
What do you say to someone who's so afraid to get started?
That's a really great question. And I feel like everyone has a thing that will anchor them into it.
In this episode, you're going to hear from a good friend of mine and head coach, Gary Mahabir, one of the top trainers in New York City, and who a lot of people like to call Fat Gary because at 55 years old, he has a six-pack and is just a guy who walks the talk. He's come from a background of professional fighters, and the person that you go to when fitness has failed you, and has taken that kind of high-level approach to everyday people that have really worked for their life that they have financially, but they've let their life go physically. And I think what he does best, they give you exactly what you need when you need it. So I think you're going to get a lot out of this episode. He's one of my best friends, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're the man. You kidding me? Shit, you've been with me for a while. Almost a decade.
More than a decade.
I know, it's crazy. I remember the day I met you, front row, good looking bald dude. I'm like, I got to pick on the bald guy.
And yeah, I'm trying to think there wasn't another bald guy.
No, not then. Not back then. It wasn't cool to be bald.
It wasn't cool to be
It is now. It is now. I'll say clean shaven today.
Yeah, especially light skin and bald.
Oh man, I get darker than you sometimes.
You get pretty dark.
It's the island.
Yeah. Well, being from Trinidad and Tobago.
I thought you were Jamaican.
No. Nice try.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, you came here a long time ago, came to New York, and you've been working at the highest level with the most successful people that are on the wealth side that really, really made it, but yet have now really sacrificed their health within that.
Yeah.
That process of the grind. So for those that don't know, who is Gary?
Gary is, of course, I'm from the islands, from Trinidad and Tobago. I moved to New York in 1991 at 21 years old. So basically, I'm a Caribbean boy, as I tell people, Caribbean sensibilities, but I grew up as an adult in New York, so I have a New York impatience sometimes. So it's a nice blend. When I need to pull it out, I can pull it out. And I got into fitness after doing 4 years of menial jobs, working for a bank and then working for a financial institution. I woke up one day and I said, you know what? I can't do this another day. And I had been working out all my life since I was 10. I was a chubby kid. And I had an uncle who was pretty well built, and I used to read his magazine. So it changed my life. Everything I know myself to be as a teenager, notoriety in high school, and I got to be a young adult, it gave me all my superpowers. So when I realized I just didn't want to keep working for someone else, I got certified in 1995. And then the rest is history. I stayed in New York City, obviously, and I worked with a bunch of different people, a few different clubs, and that's how I got my chops going. So I basically have worked with anybody under the sun. I've seen a lot of things happen. I've seen people fail. I've seen the system fail them. I also was a Muay Thai fighter, and I trained at the highest level of Muay Thai with some of the best fighters in New York City, in the country. So I also understand what it is to be competitive and work with really, really driven people and people that really want to excel. But I always came back to fitness training for the average person.
Yep.
So, I think that I believe to my heart and my house, what I got as a kid, I think everyone should have access to it. And there's a funny thing that happens that when you get older, I feel like your whatever insecurities you have as a child or things that you never accomplish that you wanted to accomplish, it starts to surface when you start to hit about 39, 40. And it doesn't matter how much money, how much success, there's an internal side that starts to surface that you feel like you believe that you want to fix or you want to get better at. And for most men over 40 who are successful, they work long hours in the boardrooms and office spaces. They just there's this yearning to change their bodies and build their self-confidence. They want to become that superhero kid, that superhero that they looked at as a kid.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool today is you're helping people that, have made it.
Yeah.
But in the process of them making it, they've lost themselves physically, and now they're realizing that they're not able to live their true self because there's a gap there in their actual lifestyle and performance physically, because emotionally it's attached to something that they haven't been able to achieve in business or achieve in entrepreneurship or achieve in their work, right?
Yeah.
So you can't have someone else, you can't create leverage off of your fitness for somebody else to do the work. You have to, it's not like business, so you have to put the work in yourself. You can't, no one could do the push-ups for you. No one could do the sit-ups for you.
Agreed.
Someone has to push down the fork a little bit.
Yes.
We joke around and be like, everybody that knows you, that's in our environment, we joke around and say that you're Fat Gary, because, at 55 plus, you're still got the six pack, still got the look, and you work really hard for it. It's not something that's just natural for you. You said that you were a fat kid growing up and a little bit chunky. Today, Fat Gary with a six pack, why do you feel like it's so important to embody the message in which you share with the world?
The world is different from when I was growing up, from when you were growing up. There's so many distractions. The food is different. The people have more access. They have access to electronics at night that keep them up later. So there's a larger propensity for people to live a more unhealthy life. And the effects are more detrimental. And as much as we have a world that's giving people access to greater things, at the same time, it's taking away on the backside of it. It's taking away what they truly want, which is to live life to their fullest and live a long life and be able to do all the things that they're working hard, making money to be able to spend time with their kids and grandkids and those kinds of things. So in one hand, I see that the world is evolving in a really fantastic way, giving more opportunities to people. But on the other side of it, it's also detracting from the very thing which is supposed to be, which is long life. For me, and I believe this to be the simplest way to explain this. And you work with high level athletes and high level people. When you make a lot of money and you understand the frameworks by which you can create revenue, you understand investments, how to grow your portfolio. I feel like the easiest way to explain that to people and why it resonates with me, taking what I know from fitness and health, is to say it's very much like an investment. It's consistency over a long time pays dividends, but you have to start somewhere. And so I feel like with a lot of people, a lot of businessmen, a lot of high level executives and older men, they forget that this is how they started in the business. They started one step at a time. They started investing a little bit at one time, and then it starts to exponentially compound. And it's not, eventually they start to expand their skill set. Well, it's the same way I take what I know and I put it in that framework for them to understand. And so it's the easiest thing for them to do, and it will create the biggest impact for their lives, because that's the whole reason they work so hard. So it's important for me because I see men in particular working hard but dying sooner. Cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes. I mean, stress is basically taking away people's lives from them, away from the very purpose of what they're trying to do, which is to enhance their life. So I feel like it's epidemic, and if I can change that by creating one mindset shift and creating one simple framework, which they already know how to do, then I think it's worth it.
If you are an online trainer or coach looking to scale your business online and provide nutrition lessons, coaching, or training to clients, the #1 software for personal trainers, Coach Catalyst.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something that's very impactful because when you talk to these very successful executives that you work with,
Yeah.
and you talk to them about investments, they're very familiar with putting money into the stock market, putting something into a business portfolio, time and time again, and then the arc of that goes up, right? They get a lot of success out of it, but yet in their own fitness journey, they've spent a lot of times putting money in, putting time in, putting effort in, and the return's a negative return.
Yeah.
And like their health is not in a better place. Like if you look at their investment portfolio 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it's significantly bigger today.
Yeah.
They put that daily deposits in and it's significantly bigger today because of the work that they put in every single day. But in their health and lifespan, it's definitely deteriorating. Now, age obviously takes that as far as a factor, but generally speaking, why would you continue to do it that way if you know that in every other part of your life you're having a lot of success
Yeah.
on the investment side, and they make investments and they're not getting a really good return? You're a living, breathing portfolio of proof that if you put the time in, you actually could not necessarily reverse the aging process, but you could actually have the maximum output out of the time that you have on Earth. And you don't nearly look your age. You don't, and I know part of that is probably just great genetics.
Sure. Yeah, for
But
sure.
there's a lot of work. I see how hard you work. I think a lot of people do. But you also work smart. So there's a difference between putting investments into something and putting the right investments into
That's right.
something.
That's right. And that's what I was about to say. Like, it's really that you have to also make the right investment. You're not going to look at some penny stock and put your money there. In the same way, we have a lot of social media. We have Instagram trainers and coaches, and I'm not knocking all of them, but we have lots of content on YouTube. We live in the information age, but you have to get the right information.
Hmm.
You have to find the right fit for you. When you know as well as I do, when we start a nutritional program with most clients, the first thing we do is blood work, because we need to see what do they need, what's missing.
Yeah, because you're creating an environment where it's like, we need to see where your portfolio is. And sometimes your portfolio starts with an assessment around your dashboard of your blood work, right? So we're creating this kind of Ferrari-based dashboard. You're a high-performance individual. You need a high-performance dashboard to tell us exactly where you are. Instead of guessing, our assessments are accurate because it's attached to your blood work. And your blood work does give you a little bit awareness around your biological age. And then other factors combined with that will allow us to actually assess you and say, hey, realistically, here's some areas of improvement.
That's right. That's right. And that's exactly that. So, once we get that blood work, we go, hey, look, these are the things that we see that you need. And so if someone were investing money, I'd say my age, 55 years old, well, that portfolio is going to look significantly different. Do we need to be aggressive? Because my health, my longevity span is shorter than a 25-year-old. So yeah, I need something a little more aggressive. Well, once we get that blood work back, we look at that and we go, all right, hang on a minute. This looks good. Let's add this. Let's take away something here. But now let's look at your exercise protocol. Do you need to train 7 days a week in high intensity every day? No. Even though you think that, okay, I'm 55 years old, I want to increase my longevity. The conventional thinking is to go, I'm going to do high intensity because that's really hot. That's what everybody's doing. But we go, no, you don't need high intensity 7 days a week, right? We need to dial it back because it's an inverse relationship based on your age, your historical training portfolio. So there's lots of nuance and there's expertise involved, and that's where I come in, and that's what you and I work on. So people think it's simple. It's simple, but it's not always easy. And when you're a high performer and you're used to winning all the time and you think you can figure everything out, you can skip some steps. And those steps can come back and bite you in the butt.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that what's really cool is I've been able to watch your career go from like high performance fighter, right, at a high competitive environment, working with some of the best in the world, early days with.
I miss that stuff. I do this. I do. Every time I go into a fight now and I smell the oil, I smell it, and I get goosebumps, and so I miss all that stuff.
You look like you still got it. You never know. I don't want to know. Well, we don't want to know. I don't know how that.
I don't want to find out either if I still have it.
That's true.
But it's nice to know that you did it. But I miss it. But I always knew that that was a thing of that was my passion, and I love it because I was doing it and I was in it. So there, that was more my like a colleague thing and being part of that group that I felt a part of. But working with more mature men over 40, working with executives, and seeing their lives change and seeing their families' lives change and their loved ones' lives change and seeing them really get something that they never thought was possible. And a lot of men will say, oh yeah, it's no big deal. Nah, it doesn't really matter.
Well, when you're wealthy, they think like, oh, I don't really care about my body, where they can buy
I
everything.
need to buy everything. But once they get that insight, once you crack that doorway and they go through it and they go like, oh, this is what it feels like to be fully optimized. This is what it feels like that I wake up in the morning and I feel like my body can do things. And I always say this to people when they start training, they go like, you know what I did? Like I ran like 2 blocks because I was kind of in a hurry and I would have never done that before. I go like, well, yeah, because now you're training and you're taking care of your body will allow your mind to have that thought to do something that you would not have previously thought about. It works, it's synergistic. So when you see people's lives change that way, it's like, that's why working with fighters, that's great, that's fun. But when you see people's lives change like that to something they never thought was possible, that's really why I do what I do.
If you are a small business that believes that you are better than your competition, but you are not recognized for how good you are, and you want to build your brand and drive attention, need a brand new website or want just general help on marketing? Sites at Scale.
I think it's cool too, because if you look at like your career over the many years that you've been doing this at a high level, you've worked with high competitive fighters to people that have walked into your gym and they're 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know a particular athlete of yours that was 400 pounds, and the first day that you brought him in, you're like, just watch the warm up. And you're like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? And I don't work well in that environment. So I kind of crack up because I'm like, I'm glad I found someone that's better than me. It's something in the fitness space like that. And hands down, you have a level of empathy and a level of understanding of like where somebody is. You meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And you understand that what is needed for that individual is very different than what you're used to doing, the normal programming. And you take somebody and that person lost something like 200 pounds working with you.
Yeah.
But like that life, like you gave him his life back.
Yeah, well, it takes empathy, and that's my special gift. There are a lot of people that have it. But my thing is that
I must have been like that recipe. I didn't get added that. It didn't add that. I got a couple drills.
well, that's why you work with the best of the best, and you know how to hammer it to the people that need to hammer it, to hammer it home, and they can deal with that. That's just what I do. I understand, I can do both, but that just happens. It happens in my gift. But the thing about that person that was that heavy, when you understand that this is a human being, and for them to get to your gym, to get to your studio, they have to take public transportation, get on a bus. When they get on that bus, people are gonna watch them funny. They're gonna give them the looks, and then they sit, and then they can't fit in the seats. The effort it takes for that person to get to your gym or your studio. If you really sit and observe it and put yourself in that person's shoes, then you understand that every action is an achievement for them.
Mm.
And if you can get them to just get those small wins, then the sky's the limit, because that's how winning is done, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, and I've seen you win with so many different people in different demographics, which is amazing. So as you take these now successful executives and you really kind of change their life and expand their life reality-wise, a lot of times people come to you in the performance level because of the insurance policy. Like they know they're not going to get this level of treatment from their general practitioner. They know that their doctor's not going to deliver them a comprehensive blood panel because they're not looking for anything, because there's no sort of disease that's there, nothing out of whack. They're like, oh, it's normal as you get older. older for your blood levels and your panels to go down. Like today's daily ranges are very different than optimal, and they're much lower because of American standards. But you're able to say, hey, we're going to do a comprehensive audit of your life physically, mentally, emotionally, and biologically. You're going to look at everything at that level. And then you're going to say, hey, how do we actually find the missing opportunities? How are we going to create a game plan for you that's going to work for you?
Yeah.
And it's like, you have worked with people at the highest level of fitness, and you've worked with people where fitness has failed them.
Yep.
And now you're working with people that, they have the financial means to be able to, really invest into their life so they could do it right. But what you do is you create the health leader of their family. If they were the financial leader, they were the decision maker. Now all of a sudden they embody a code as a man to show up as a leader in their family.
Yep.
And now they belong. And then because of that, they could play with the kids. Because of that, they could do a lot of stuff in environments that they just didn't think was possible. Is that very fulfilling for you? Because they've already made it financially, but is it fulfilling to you to be like, hey, the thing that they can't just buy, you're the thing that kind of unlocks that code for them?
Yeah, it's very fulfilling for me because I do it for myself, and it's very personal to me. And of all the things I have in my life, my family, what I do for myself is the most important thing. So if I'm gonna do it for me, you better believe I want to be able to do it for you. It's not a job for me, and I'm very lucky because I don't view it that way.
Yeah.
Again, it changed my life from a very young age, and I see it as a superpower. So it's the one thing. It's one of a couple of things, but it's right up there on top of my list of things that I do daily. And even if I am traveling and I can't get a full workout, I do it for myself. So you better believe that I believe 100% in that. And I want other people to be able to do that because I know that it's not a question. I know
it's how you are.
It's just how I am. And I know that it will change other people's lives. So yeah, it means a lot to me because it's like me giving them a part of myself.
Absolutely.
If you are an executive leader that is looking to get in the best shape of your life from a health standpoint and want the same coaches in your corner that are working with professional athletes, then reach out. Athlete HQ.
With the work that you do now, what is something that you do? You do blood panels, you do assessments, you create these high performance habits.
Yep.
For a lot of executives, they don't have a normal routine that allows them to go to a gym, and they haven't really carved that part of their life out. Or they did, but they're not getting the return on investment, so they don't prioritize it. What do you do for them? Is it completely individualized, or is there like a process that you take people through? What's your thought process on like creating their training program?
Yeah, the training program is very personalized. The blood work is your blood work, right? It's hard to fudge that. You're not going to be able to fudge it. And then once that comes back, that's really great because it has nothing to do with me. These are the professionals that analyze the blood, that will draw the blood. So when you get the results, this is what you've got. If you want to argue against what you see in the blood panel, well, that's on you, but that's in denial.
Yeah.
Once we get that, we know like this is what's happening. Those are some things you can fix with, we have supplementation, which is we immediately get that to people.
Vitamins, minerals,
We immediately get that to clients once we get that blood work. If there's a need for deeper intervention, then we discuss that separately.
Absolutely.
Right? And then we get them moving immediately. And as well as I know, foundational patterns and habits lay the foundation for being able to build the higher level of performance.
So what are some of those foundational movements or patterns?
Foundational movements, we want be able to get your cardiovascular respiratory system better, and that's simple. We just need you to move. Most people aren't doing anything.
So what's minimum required?
Minimum required, we need you walking, moving every day. So if you're not walking anything at all, it's like go around the block, twice.
That's it.
Get morning sunlight.
Mhm.
Get it drink some water, drink 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning. And we start with that. We start with those habits. Based on our assessment, you get a movement screen. We send you some movements. We want to see how you move.
What are some things in a movement screen that you want people to be able to do?
Simple things. Can you squat? Can you bend? Can you touch your toes? Very simple things, you know. Depending on when we do an assessment and evaluation of someone based on what they would like to accomplish, based on their exercise history, the movement patterns could be bigger. But you know, we need to say, can you turn around? Can you turn your neck? Can you look over your shoulder? There's simple things that people can't do. Can you look up?
And it's crazy because it seems so simple, but then you don't do it long enough, or you don't like actually test it long enough, and then all of a sudden you're like, ow,
Yeah,
shit hurts.
exactly. I'm like, hey, can you turn your chin to the right? And they go, like so. I know what I mean, like all the way. Can you touch? They go like, I can't do that. I say, can you look up to the ceiling? No, they can't do that.
And I mean, I could do it, and I get artificial disc replacement. So
You're like a bionic man.
I know, yeah. This thing was expensive.
And you
So-
still probably have a neck the size of somebody's thighs.
Well, the funny part, this is like a pencil neck for me. I mean, God, that makes me that like I still look in the mirror sometimes. I'm like, who's that guy? That's my golly, like pretty chubby and no neck. That's weird.
Pretty big,
I need to get my traps back
right?
one day.
So once we get someone moving, some basic screens, a lot of them are simpler than people think.
Yeah.
Then we can start building out an exercise program that's specific and customized for them. And really, the biggest part of that now is to fit this into their schedule. So
Someone's part of their life now.
it's part of their life. But you know, we have CEOs that are up like super early and they're out first thing in the morning. They have meetings and you know, they have to take calls. So we have to fit these programs in and make it manageable. And it's a lot easier than most people think. It's not a 2-hour workout. Sometimes it's a 20-minute workout, given the day and the time of that year, that quarter. But we want you moving, and we get going, and it's based upon the deficiencies that we see in that screen.
Water, sunlight, movement. What else?
Yeah. Then we stop eating cheeseburgers. If they're in cheeseburgers, I mean, the steak dinners are nice.
Yeah.
And we're not saying cut out your steak dinners.
Listen, if there's somebody that knows how to eat, it's you. So let's start. Like we will not have a bad meal if I'm around. But you've been wanting to.
I could eat.
Okay,
I could eat.
but you've earned that right to eat.
I will not right. Remember, I have investment. I've been investing for a long time.
Got it. That makes
So
sense.
I have more.
So it's like a financial like portfolio. If you have a buffer,
That's right.
the means of you going out for a steak dinner and maybe somebody else, it may be it may be like $10 to you in your financial portfolio because you have so much money, and it's like you have all that invested in your health.
Yeah.
That CEO, a steak dinner at, at Mastro's or at the Strip House or at, Peter Luger is, like a $10 meal for them proportionately to somebody else, where it's like date night, anniversary, special occasion. Whereas for you going to get a dinner, that is basically because you put so much investments in, that's the $10 for you because you have so much of a buffer.
Right. And like the last time we went out, right? The last time we went out, that we really went out, how much dessert did I have?
True Lux, great seafood restaurant too in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. One of Tanya's favorite restaurants. So we ordered dinner, great place, it was awesome. I ordered carrot cake.
Yeah.
You ordered a double chocolate cake and something else.
I had strawberry shortcake, which is
strawberry shortcake. It's two. Now this is a nice restaurant, so that's like the whole plate and the high rise is what it looked like. I didn't get through, and I'm a big boy, but I didn't get through my whole carrot cake. You got through both your desserts, and then you were pretty offended that the guy that was like 230, 240.
How dare you leave dessert behind? It's a travesty. It's not supposed to be done, right? So I had those two desserts.
Yeah.
I had my main course. But let's be honest, I'm not eating like that every day,
No.
and I'm not eating like that every weekend. So that's a special treat. And so my point is that you can still have the things that you want, and as you invest more time into changing your body and changing your lifestyle, you still get leeway to do the things you want. It just can't be an everyday lifestyle. You can still have that steak, but you can't have that steak with the duck fat fries and the carrot cake. You can't do that every night. So you can still entertain the clients. You can go out. We're not gonna have the McAllens every night. Maybe you start with, maybe if you have a couple every night, maybe you have one and then you leave for one Friday or something. It takes a little time. My point is that you're gonna have to make some choices to get what you want, and when you get what you want, then you get more leeway. You've invested the time. It's
Absolutely.
like anything else.
So what
If you want to bring your professional grade studio on the road to record high quality content, Go Box Studio.
what do you say to someone who's so afraid to get started?
That's a really great question. And I feel like it's everyone has a thing that will anchor them into inactivity or fear. I think it's always fear based. I believe from working with so many different people, many people have tried and they've failed, whether it be one time or 10 times. And it's practice. The more times you fail, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
And when that happens, people question themselves and they question the process. So where I come in is I go, hey, I know you failed. I know this hasn't worked for you before. I want you to suspend your disbelief in yourself. I say, I want you to take yourself out of the equation. I get it. There's a programming that happens. I'm asking you to suspend your disbelief and trust me throughout this short process for first 4 to 8 weeks. Our programs are a year long.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Right.
And we'll talk about that. I think that's important.
We know our programs, it's a year long, but I need you to give me at least that first 4 weeks to get you into your process. I said, I need you to trust me. So I need you to suspend your disbelief in yourself. And I need you to forget what you did in the past. Just forget it. We're going with that clean stuff.
It obviously hasn't worked, so we might as well.
It obviously hasn't worked because if you wouldn't be here. So I need you I'm asking you, I'm requesting for you to give up everything that's happened in the past. And I think once we can get people to take that first step to enroll, and enrollment isn't just sign on a line and give us a check or pay for it. That's not, enrollment starts in here and in here.
Sure.
And then the payment is the gesture of your intention. It's the material intention. But everything else, the intention starts in here and here. So I need you to enroll in the process. And that enrollment means you're 100% committed.
Yep.
And once we can get that, the rest is easy.
So when you enroll at the heart and in the head, then you could actually have some belief in the process, because what you're saying is, hey, suspend your belief. I got your back.
Yeah.
I also think that you're doing a lot of work, but you're not making a lot of progress because you're not very productive because you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So you make it easy on them. Yeah. And then the next part of it is, hey, we've seen this before. So the pattern recognition that we have is significantly better, and they just have to trust the process, and then eventually they'll come out on top.
Yeah.
What's your take on people getting lean? Like the ability, like at least one point in your life, to really dial a diet in and get lean. How much health benefits does it have for people?
Lean is relative. I mean, if you're talking to a fighter, lean is below 10%.
Oh, yeah, right.
Or bodybuilder, or somebody who's into physique transformation that way. But if you have someone who come into your 30% body fat, I want you to get to like 17% body fat. That's lean for you.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about health related issues. And so lean to me, for that population, I want you to get healthy. I want you to get rid of the fat that's making you healthy. So a point where all your blood markers are looking good. You're off your medication. You don't feel foggy. You generally are a healthy human being, which has nothing to do with a six-pack. Nothing at all. Once we can get you to that point where you are a healthy human being, and we've extended your longevity 7 to 10 years minimum.
Yeah.
Right? Then we can start talking about, you want a 2-pack, a 3-pack, a 4-pack, whatever you want. Then we can start to go to the nth level.
Sure.
To that degree. So The definition for leanness means, okay, it's all relative to how overweight or how obese you are now. That's making you unhealthy. We need to get that off and get you to a place where you feel, I feel like amazing.
How much does carrying those extra weight, those pounds, affect your joints and your heart and potentially your longevity?
Significant. I always tell people go, oh, yeah, I think I could lose like 10. I want to lose like 10, 12. They're like, I'm 30. I'm like, I said, you could lose 25. They're like, 25, man. Like, I don't think I have 25. I'm like, trust me, you have 25 to lose. I said, and that's just the start of it. And sure enough, they'll lose 15. And then they go, you were right. I think I can lose another 15. And I go, yeah, I did this. And so many people are coming in with knee issues, borderline on maybe a joint replacement, starting to be arthritic, if not arthritic already, osteoarthritis. And without going to the actual source of the discomfort, being 20 pounds lighter, do you know what that means to that, the weight, the load on that joint? So it's significant. It's significant. And if you ever put a 20-pound weight vest on and try to walk a flight of stairs or a couple of flights of stairs, you know what 20 pounds mean. People are just unused to being heavy and overweight. They don't know the difference. They don't know what it feels like to be fully optimized or to be 25 pounds lighter, 20 pounds lighter. They felt unhealthy and for so long that it's just status quo for them.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a big deal.
And when you look at like our programs and what you do at the executive level, because that's what you do, you manage high performers at the executive level that are really investing their money and their time no longer into their businesses because they've already done really well, but now back into their lives so they can enjoy the fruits of their labor over the many years. And because it takes a toll on you, it takes a toll on the relationship, it takes a toll on their life, it takes a toll on their kids when the dad is not showing up a certain way health wise, but they're showing up to all of their employees a certain way, they're to the business partners a certain way. So we are looking for the health leaders of their family. But the reason why we have a 12 month program, it's a year long minimum. And we have people that have been with us for 5 years, 6 years, people with us forever because they see the insurance policy of staying healthy. But the main reason, and we can dive into this, is this idea of most people look at like a crash diet or a challenge or 6 week program as the way to get like get you lean quick. But what you're doing is you're taking kind of like your liver, your kidney, your organs that are like kind of soaking wet sponges of all these toxins and everything else. And then you wring that out too fast, and too soon. And your body's basically now having to process that and get rid of it. And what it happens to your blood levels is it like throws everything off. And you actually have a lot more damage that does to your internal organs and to your body, and your response is very negative. So when we expanded this out like an accordion and we said, hey, we are going to break it out into chunks, right? So we may have this kind of like, 3 weeks to 3 month, like short window between habits and a strategy for them. But it's basically looking at something between like a year. Like if you looked at your body today and a year from now, it took you, let's call it 30 to 50 years to get to the body that you have today. And you had some up and downs and yo-yos or whatever it may be. But in a year from now, if you were the magazine type body, now not photo ready, but really lifestyle ready, where you could go to Mexico with your friends and family and enjoy it, where you could go on vacation, go to Europe and you could enjoy that, where you could go hang with the grandkids and not be exhausted, but you could maintain that body the rest of your life. How much better would that be?
Yeah.
So we have a 12-month program for that reason. What are the biggest hurdles that you run into when people say that they want it sooner?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so common, right? That's so common, particularly with the type of demographic we work at, people that's very successful. They want everything.
Yes. Anytime that you could throw money at a problem to collapse time and deliver it with speed, it's a good solution. And they think that they could do that, so they hire a trainer. And we both, and I know some of the individuals that you work with A-list celebrities and very, very successful, famous people, or people that are not necessarily famous, but are very well off. And problems that they have in their life normally could be quickly resolved with them just signing a check, swiping a card, or looking at something.
That's their choice.
but it's the weapon that they are the strongest in, that it doesn't affect their body.
That's right. Because you can't buy it. So to your point earlier, they have to earn it. They have to put the time in. And so the 12-week, the 12-month program that we have in place, simply put, think about it this way. We know that if you get someone who has a healthy body, if there's nothing wrong, and they have the basic optimization in place, we can get them lean, close to 10 to 12% body fat in about 12 to 16 weeks.
Easy,
Right?
no, easy,
We know that.
super easy.
So that's what was that about, right? So that's the tail end of that 12-month period. But the reason we can't do that is because they're not coming to us optimized.
No, that's true.
So to your point, there's so many toxins, they're doing so many things wrong that if we go on a crash diet and a crash exercise program, not only will their tissue not be able to handle the toxins and the bad stuff coming out of their bodies, but the tissue would physically break if we put them through that last 3 to 4 months of exercise. That would shred that.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it would shred them in a bad way. So you know that we have to, it's like having a racehorse who's coming back, who knows how to run really fast, and they're coming off an injury, and you work with athletes coming off from injuries. We have to kind of keep the reins on them to do everything right, to build them up. So when we're ready to let them go, we can get done that last 3-4 months to really get them shredded, because we have to take care of their body and optimize everything. So we have to lay the foundation to do that. And that's why it's 12 weeks long. But here's something that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about the mindset that's required. And oftentimes, in month number 1 to month number 9, we see so many mental blocks.
Oh, they quit. Oh, it's not. I want to do this. This isn't working. Oh, get a charge of decorations.
This is, and if I can keep doing this, because for one reason or the other, and you can,
It's not working. I'm not looking. You're happy. Talking to yourself into some bullshit.
and you hear that because they're trying to go back into the old cycle, which had them quitting in the first place. So there's also a mental side of it that nobody talks about. So the last 3 to 4 months, we know that we can get that. We can get that.
It's also it's where you've done all the hard work for 9 months, but it's actually where all the work is seen is in that last part. So they feel like they're not seeing the benefits so quickly, but in reality, their blood works better, their exercise better, their field.
Why did it take us so long? We could have done this in 12 weeks. I'm like, no, you couldn't.
And we can get someone lean quick, but the problem is like, we don't want to start stripping away like years of value. So you do a great job. It's been so much fun to do this with you and be in your best space, where you work with these high wealth individuals that are big contributors to their families from a directional vision and leader standpoint.
I love it, man. I love what I do. I love what I do. I know there's more to be done. There's more that I have to learn. I'm always learning. I'm always learning from you and about other people. But the impact, I feel it in my bones, because I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I share my life. I know what it means. And when you have kids and you have people that rely on you, you know what it takes. You know what that feels like. And in the same way, when my 400-pound guy was coming to that studio, he had to get on a bus and he had people giving him the looks. And it was tough. I had to, when I look at it, I know I see what this is. I see how this is for you. When I get somebody coming in for the first time, they might not know it, but I see how they are. I see what this is gonna mean to them, even if they don't know it yet. So it's deep to me. I love having the opportunity to do it, and I thank you for always giving me space to be able to do it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for being a great example of a health leader in your family. Thank you for being a great example for a health leader in our industry. You've been a continuous learner all the time. I see it everything that we could get to. And also, I think it's really cool too, is like, thanks for being somebody that I could count on. You're a very reliable, dependable human. And as a man, I appreciate that.
I used to be a Boy Scout. Well, that's good. I was a patrol second in command, so I get what it means to be part of a team and to support other people. And I don't need the accolades. I like to see the results.
Yeah, I mean, I love food, and you know that. And we have a good time. We always get a good meal. But whenever we're in environments I would sit next to you, not just for the company and the good times and the fact that our two bald heads look good together, but because, hey, Gary, you're ordering for me. Because I'll order with my eyes, I'll order with my feelings, and you just like, all right, where are you in your life right now? How do you earned it? And I got to be honest with you. Like,
All right, cool. I know when you do it work.
well, it's pretty obvious, though. But yeah, you know that at a deeper level within the relationship, and I think that's really valuable to me to have somebody that I could trust. To like, I can remove my thinking and be like, hey, you're in charge. So thank you so much for leading so many men, and thank you so much for being an advocate for people's longevity, health span, and their lifespan, and just being a health leader in their family.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That is for my confidence today.
Always, man. Thanks. Love you, brother. Love you too.